welcome back to Masters of Inventory. I'm Mandy, your host, and as always, I'm joined by Stan Andrus, CEO of Simple RFID.
Yeah, hey.
Hi.
Mandy, how are you?
Doing great.
Good. Yeah, I'm actually very excited about this week's episode because it's something we're going to talk about that we get asked questions about a lot from retailers. And when they approach us, they're a lot of times curious, but more often not, they're very nervous about this subject. And the subject is, how do I become RFID compliant so that I can sell my product into big box retailers? And so, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Perfect. Exactly. We're breaking it down into 6 simple steps so you can get your products tagged with RFID and ready for retailers such as Walmart, Nordstrom, Dillard's, Macy's, and other retail giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And trust us, it's not as difficult as it sounds. A lot of times people come to us and they feel like it is just like an impossible task to do. So we've really broken it down into a really simple, straightforward process that makes the compliance, the process of becoming compliant, really a breeze. And so you can really focus on other things instead of working about these technical details. So
awesome. So before we do that, let's discuss what is the best way to create these labels. We get questions such as, don't I have to outsource my labels to Avery Dennison or Fine Line, or can I print them myself? So what are the advantages and disadvantages of those two options?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the first thing is the answer is yes, you can print compliant RFID labels yourself. And in my opinion, that's going to be the best way to go, is just to purchase blank labels and then just print the labels you need on demand. The problem that I have seen with pre-printing these labels is that you have them sitting around waiting to be used. Once you've got to, once it's time to tag a purchase order or whatever it is, you're digging through the bags, looking for the right stickers to apply to the right items. And you also have the factor of you're waiting around for labels to arrive. You've got to pay for shipping and transit and make sure that they arrive in time to meet deadlines. So really, it's just not ideal. I think that the best approach is just to provide your suppliers with an RFID-enabled printer and then just allow them to print purchase orders or sales orders or whatever on demand as needed.
Absolutely. If they're already doing it, they're putting the labels on, so why not?
Right, exactly.
So sounds like printing labels makes it much easier. But what about the cost? I'm sure people are wondering that.
Right, yeah. I would say that the cost for RFID in general has come down substantially. The cost for a printer, for example, a desktop-enabled printer, starts between about $1,000 and $1,500 for kind of your entry-level printer. So it's not really expensive to have a printer on site, and frankly, outsourcing them can get really expensive. Paying a third party to do that job for you. So
yeah, you're going to be paying more per label too, for sure.
Right.
So we're going to give you 6 simple steps to become compliant, and I'll list them off, and we'll go into more detail for each step. So also we'll be providing a link in the show notes that will give you a PDF with all the information we're talking about. So it'll make it really easy for you to follow the instructions.
Right.
Okay, so the 6 steps are, number 1, you're going to get a GS1 company prefix. Number 2, with that prefix, you're going to be able to create your barcodes, like your UPC. Then you're going to select the right label with the approved inlay, and then you'll design your labels with the needed properties. And then we're at step number 5, print and encode your labels, and then you'll be able to submit them for an ALEC approval if that's necessary for the requirement. We'll just jump right into step 1. So getting a company prefix from GS1, which is the organization that oversees compliance and standards for barcodes and RFID. So you'll create your UPCs, and this prefix is essentially the root of all your product identifiers, and it's a requirement for creating your unique barcodes.
Yep, exactly. So compliant barcodes can be like the UPC if you're in the Americas, which stands for Universal Product Code. If you're over in Europe, you're going to be creating the European article number, which is the EAN, or in Japan, it's the JAN. So depending on what country you're producing product in and for, you'll probably want to use a different country code, which will change that up a little bit. But yeah, so you'll want to confirm that before you get busy and start printing tons of labels. So we've seen things like that happen. So you want to be careful, especially at the beginning. So obviously once you have your labels generated, then you can immediately start using them. So we've talked about obviously the barcodes, generating the barcodes. I guess we're on to step 3, right? Picking the right label. So really picking the right label is critical, because if you pick the wrong label, you can actually have it rejected by your retail partner. And the right label includes and is really specific to the inlay, which is the little microchip and antenna underneath the paper. Certain retailers require certain retailers like Walmart will require certain departments to use only specific inlays. So because they've been tested and determined to be optimized for those types of products. So the process for approval is called ARC approval, ARC. And you can go through and see if the labels that you have selected meet the ARC approval standards. That's the best way to do that. So
we also carry a bunch of the approved labels.
Right. So. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're working with us, and we know that you do need labels produced for one of these big box retailers, we'll make sure and point you to the right ones.
Yeah, we've done the legwork on that. So.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Let's see. So we're at number 4, design your RFID labels. So based on the retailer's playbook, you're going to need to include all the necessary details on your label, like your UPC barcode and the EPC global symbol, which indicates that it's an RFID tag. And these elements are essential for meeting the retailer requirements.
Right. Yeah. And really, any big box retailer you're going to work with is going to have some kind of playbook, like you mentioned. And the playbook's going to outline a lot of these things. Specifically, what needs to be included on your label design, the properties, potentially they'll tell you the position that they want it. Some are more specific, so you'll really want to look at that playbook to determine. Of course, if you work with us, we can help out with the design. We do it all the time and help customers with that. So,
absolutely. Number 5, print and encode GS1 compliant labels. So your RFID tags need to be encoded with the correct schema. So typically the SG10 format for sellable products. Don't worry, in our guide, we're going to put all the glossary of all these terms, because it can sound very just a lot of abbreviations happening.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it's the SG10 format for sellable products. So this ensures that each label has a unique serial number. Yep. And your items are individually trackable. So you'll need to lock the EPC memory bank, which we also can help you with when you print,
right,
to ensure that the labels can't be modified.
Yep, absolutely. So, you'll go through that whole process. Then, of course, the last step is going to be to submit samples to ALEC approval process. So ALEC is part of the Auburn University's RFID lab, and they allow you to send labels, samples down, and they test them, make sure that they're encoded properly and that they're locked, and all of those measures have been met. So once you send those labels down, I think it's 5 samples, then they'll test them and then basically confirm that you're ready to go. And so it's a really quite simple process. The first time you do it, it maybe seems a little bit involved, but once you've done it once, then it's really easy to follow going forward. So like I mentioned, we do this all the time with different customers, so we can help out. If you are being mandated by one of these partners, reach out to us. We're happy to help you and kind of guide you through that process. As Mandy also mentioned, in the notes of this podcast episode, we do have that link that's going to go through and include the links for these 6 steps, so make it easy for you as well. So
perfect. Okay, so we're just going to recap this step. So you're going to get your GS1 company prefix. You're going to create your barcodes, select the right label, design the labels, print and encode the labels, and then you'll submit them for ALEC approval. It's that simple.
Yep, absolutely. And it really is quite simple. Once you've done it, you'll be a pro. But that first time, again, it can be a little daunting. So we're here to help. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions in terms of navigating the process. And we always work and try to get the most up-to-date playbooks from these different retailers so that we can have that information right off the bat. But so
Perfect. So don't forget, get the free guide in the show notes. And if you're interested in adopting RFID for your operation, we'd love to talk to you. So book a demo and let's transform your inventory management together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been working with major retailers now for several years. So we've become quite familiar with a lot of their processes. So yeah, exactly. If you have any questions or any fears in your mind about how to go through this compliance process, or any of the steps at all, reach out to us and let us kind of help you through that process. So yep, as Mandy said, we appreciate you guys joining us today in our episode of Masters of Inventory, and we hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thanks.